principles of diffusion. Now, particles have kinetic energy, so moving energy, they're moving around and they are randomly moving about, and that is then what makes diffusion to happen. And it is the solvent diffusing in the solute. And there's the net diffusion, so it goes always from the place, or almost always from the place with high concentration, there's a lot of one substance, to the place there's a little of that substance, but also a little bit from where there's little to the region there's a lot of it. And the net diffusion is now the difference. So if here are 100 things and here are 10 things, there's way more going over to that side, let's say 20, but from that place with the 10 also 2 go over. So the net diffusion are now just 18, because 20 have gone over, but 2 makes so 18 net diffusion. And it goes on until there is an equilibrium. There's everywhere 60, for example, because we had 120. So everywhere the same. When it's an equilibrium, they keep moving on because of their kinetic energy, but it's just like that, there's nothing anymore happening. It's just the equilibrium. They keep moving, but there's no further diffusion happening. They have already completely diffused. And then there are 5 things listed in the book which are having an influence on that. The first one is the steepness of a gradient. So we're saying high and low concentration. As I just said, from a place where there's a lot, it goes to the place where there's little. So the more is at one place, the faster it goes to the other side. That is the first influence. Then another influence is the temperature. The higher the temperature, the faster it is. If a person has fever and the temperature of the body temperature of the person rises, it goes faster. The next thing was the size of that particle which is diffusing. The larger it is, the slower. And when the surface area, the bigger the surface area, the faster it can happen. With the lungs, there's a lot of surface area for the oxygen to go from the air into the blood, the carbon dioxide back. So the bigger the surface area, the faster. And if someone has, for example, emphysema, then that would be slower, the disease. And so the size of the particle was number 3. The bigger the size, the slower, and the greater the surface area, the faster it is. And then also the distance. So if it has to move further, it is diffusing slower. Cells have a very, very thin membrane, so that it goes through just in a fraction of a second. And that's according to Gerard Tatoga and Seneca Bovsky's Principles of Anatomy and Physiology book on the page 66 and 67. But this is no substitute for medical knowledge and also no medical advice. And the positions and views expressed are the ones of the source and don't necessarily align with my own or with the ones of the entities spoken on.